Hey gang, welcome to my fan page, welcome to this week's video blog, and welcome to part 2 in our 6-week series on the 6 things successful salespeople do every single day. We talked last week about the importance of being in the knowledge acquisition business. We talked about the idea that knowledge is power if you have it and use it the right way. We talked about the fact that having a commitment to gaining knowledge is a market differentiator, and moving from price to advice on any of the products you sell is a function of having more knowledge about what you can do, not only with your product and service for a consumer, but also what you can do outside of your product and service for a consumer beyond. That would be value add versus value integration. If you think about value integration, you think about the idea that here's how I have packaged myself. This is how I have put myself together so that I can, in fact, be more valuable at the outset, particularly when trying to get appointments with would-be prospects, business partners, or buyers of my product and service. So as you think about the idea of gaining appointments and you think about this second idea, it's important for you to ask, what is my entire value package? When I started off in the selling business, it was kind of like this. Here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck, Todd, you're on your own. And I didn't really have a lot of training about appointment setting. I had significant call reluctance, didn't really know how to crack the code, and I found myself calling on a list of contacts, and I found myself getting rejected pretty significantly. One might have been because I didn't have a good approach. Another might have been because I didn't have experience in the industry I was in, really. Another might be that I didn't maybe package myself the right way or use referrals the right way or whatnot. You are all at some stage of your sales career, your business career. Maybe you're running a sales force, and they are all at different stages in their career. But what I have found is that prospecting is one of the most overlooked business disciplines that there is to make a business work. And last time I checked, a business did not function without customers. And so we have to have a customer acquisition strategy. And again, there's many people listening and watching this, and so there's different descriptions and definitions of what a buyer actually is. It can be an end user of your product or service. It can be a reseller of your product or service. It can be a broker of your product or service. So let me just give you some highlights, high level, and I'll let you dig deep to apply it to your particular business. What I learned early in my career was 3 things about prospecting. I learned that a prospect should always be expecting you at a meeting. In other words, what I learned early in my career is that cold calls produced more resistance and reluctance and rejection, the triple R's, than I really had the bandwidth to endure. And so when I learned about target marketing, when I learned about laser focus, when I learned about appointment setting, that was a major shift in my business philosophy. And for the better part of my sales career, I always worked by appointment. A couple things happen when you work by appointment. You have more control over the interview process, more control over the initial dialogue process, and generally speaking, you have more time because vis-a-vis the fact that it's planned and blocked on your calendar and your prospect's calendar. The second thing I learned is that a prospect should be excited to meet with you, and so I always tried to bring into play a referral that could tout me, sell me, build me up, talk about some of the reasons why they've used me, and get the person I'm approaching to get excited about using me. I found that to be very helpful. I also found that depending on how I packaged my value integration, depending on what the kind of the initial sense of offerings were that this person understood that I might have, the more likely they were to get excited. So one of the things, for example, I used as a mortgage professional with real estate agents is I used a program called the Consumer Referral Program. It was a branded program where I could get a real estate agent excited because if they met with me and if we did business together, then one of the things I would give to them is a consumer referral program, which would bring them buyers and sellers. So that was integrated into my approach, into my script, and what ended up happening is I had a huge receptivity. And then the ones that were using me, that were using this product and were benefiting by it, obviously became mouthpieces and ambassadors to the marketplace that I was a different kind of guy and worth doing business with. So that was important. Always work with prospects that are excited about you and what you have to offer. And then the third thing is never leave a prospecting appointment without delivering added value, huge value, something in addition to what actually transpired during the interview process. Okay, it can be anything from an ongoing communication plan that gives them ideas to help them in their business. It can be a follow-up system that equips them to run their business more effectively. It can be a series of things that you might come up with that would be value adds. They could be particular gift certificates or dinner certificates or things like that, but always leave more than you took, okay? And the magic rule was leave 10 times more than you took, and yet sometimes it's hard to really evaluate that. But the more you leave and the more you give as kind of your value-added offering, the more likely they are to get excited and stay with you and use you for a longer period of time, all right? Now, the most important thing that we understand about prospecting is this. People know people who know people. And so I just want to leave you with a concept. It's called the circle of cash flow. And basically, if I have a buyer in the middle of, a piece of paper and I draw 8 lines from that circle all the way around, kind of clockwise, I have the opportunity to take somebody who knows somebody and use that as a direct referral. For example, my brother's a financial planner. I put him in the middle, and one of the questions he asked is, who do I know that knows who I need to know? That's him asking it of himself. Well, he wrote my name up here in this bubble. And again, remember, there's 8 bubbles clockwise. He wrote my name up there. And as soon as you write somebody's name up there, you pull them from up there, put them in here, and he calls me and says, Todd, who do you know? Well, I happen to know this guy on this bubble. He sells Mercedes, and he needs a financial plan. And so I make the connection from my brother to this guy, and he sets an appointment with this guy, and it's a successful appointment. And the guy was excited to meet with him, was expecting to meet with him, and when the presentation was over, was really glad that he met with him. And you never stop this. And so the Mercedes guy that became a financial planning client of my brother's, because my brother asked, who do I know who knows who I need to know? And it was me. Now that guy goes in the middle, and Jeff says, who do you know, Thomas, that knows people I need to know? And at this point in time, Thomas has introduced him to 15 other salespeople at that same Mercedes dealership, and obviously then making the appointments and setting the appointments is very easy. Zig Ziglar does say something very fascinating about prospecting. He says prospecting is like taking a bath. If you don't do it every day, pretty soon you stink. Make sure today and this week you focus on the art of prospecting. If you have call reluctance, why? Okay, what do you need to do? Either rehearsing your lines, your script, your approach. Do you need to change your approach? Do you need to stop making cold calls and start making warm calls? Do you need to send a letter in advance and then follow up on that letter to, at least paint a picture of what doing business together might look like? Prospecting is not something that you can ever avoid. It's not something generally for most salespeople that you can delegate. And it is something that the best-run businesses in America use as one of the top 6 things they do each day to continue to make sure their business is building, okay? So we got knowledge as one thing. We got prospecting as a second thing. We'll continue our journey 4 more weeks, 4 more things. Stay fired up, and thanks for coming to the fan page. This is where success happens, okay? Take care.